I never planned on leaving the city. Not for the woods, not for the bugs, and definitely not for a broken-down cabin sitting at the edge of a forgotten Appalachian town. But I did. And what I found there, well, it nearly got me arrested or worse. Because when I tried to fix up my granddad's old place, they showed up with bulldozers, said it was illegal property, said I didn't belong. But what they didn't know, I had the one piece of paper that could bring their whole operation down. And they were willing to do anything to make sure I didn't show it to anyone. This is how a forgotten cabin almost got me jailed, buried, and hated by an entire town. And why I don't regret a second of it. My name's Mark Latham, born and raised in Atlanta, software engineer. Starbucks in the morning, coding till night, DoorDash, emails, deadlines. You get the picture. 3 years ago, I lost my dad. 2 months after that, I lost my job. It was like the universe pressed some reset button on my life. That's when the letter came. Mailed, handwritten, from a lawyer in Kentucky. Mr. Latham, you have inherited property from your late grandfather, Elias Latham. Please contact our office to claim it. My grandfather, the man I hadn't seen since I was 9, all I remembered was a big beard, thick southern accent, and a porch swing that creaked louder than a freight train. I figured, why not? Nothing keeping me in Atlanta anyway. So I rented a car, drove 6 hours into the Appalachians, and followed the directions the lawyer gave me. I arrived in a town called Briar Ridge. Population, around 700. 2 gas stations. 1 diner. No Starbucks in sight. People stared at me like I'd landed from Mars. Guess a clean-shaven guy in a Tesla rental stands out. The cabin was bad. The roof was half caved in. Windows broken. Front porch sagging like it had arthritis. But still, it had a charm. And when I stepped inside, I swear it smelled like memories. Then I heard the knock. 3 men, khaki pants, polos, clipboards. Afternoon, sir. We're with the Briar Ridge Homeowners Association. You can't stay here. This property isn't zoned for habitation. Excuse me? I told them I inherited it. They told me inheritance didn't matter. The HOA had voted to condemn the cabin years ago. That's when I knew this wasn't going to be a peaceful renovation. Over the next few days, I tried to clean up, pulled weeds, cleared brush, covered the roof with a tarp. And every day, they came. HOA reps, city zoning officials, even the sheriff at one point, all with the same message. This property isn't safe. You need to leave before demolition. But I noticed something strange. No paperwork, no official notice, no condemnation order, just threats, warnings, and then sabotage. One morning I woke up to find the tarp slashed. Later, someone cut the padlock I'd put on the tool shed. Another night I heard voices outside and then tires screeching away. But I wasn't backing down. Then I remembered something. My grandfather used to talk about the real deed. Said he kept it somewhere the snakes won't bite it, but men will fear it. Sounded like nonsense. But maybe, just maybe, I searched the cabin from top to bottom. Then I found it, behind the fireplace bricks, sealed in a tin. A folded, yellow document, mineral rights and land deed, issued 1946, amended 1964, signed, sealed, still legal. This wasn't just a deed. It included mineral rights, and the borders outlined, covered. More than just the cabin. They included part of the forest around it, and that's when it clicked. This wasn't about a broken-down shack. They wanted what was under it, coal, lithium, maybe more. Suddenly, everything made sense. I went to the county clerk's office to get it verified. They froze when they saw the deed, made calls, whispered, avoided eye contact. That night, someone tried to torch my cabin. Thankfully, I'd installed motion sensor cameras. I got the plate number, and guess what? It belonged to the HOA president's nephew. I filed a report. But the next morning, I got arrested. Trespassing, vandalism, illegal occupation. The sheriff wouldn't even look me in the eye. I spent 16 hours in a cold cell. But when I got out, I had a plan. I uploaded everything. Pictures of the deed, video footage of the sabotage, emails, audio recordings of the threats. I sent it to every local reporter I could find. Then I called a lawyer, a good one, and I sued the HOA. 3 weeks later, it blew up. Turns out they'd illegally rezoned dozens of old properties, took kickbacks from a mining company, buried deeds, bribed clerks. Now the feds were involved. The charges against me dropped. The HOA dissolved. 3 members arrested. 1 skipped town. And me? I rebuilt the cabin. New roof, solar panels, rainwater filtration. Turned it into a retreat center for veterans. Named it after my granddad, Camp Elias. But that wasn't the end of the story. Months later, a woman named Lena showed up. She said she was my grandfather's goddaughter, said she had her own stories about this land, and proof the corruption went back generations. We dug into archives together, old newspaper clippings, court cases, land swaps that never made the books. Turns out a mining company had been trying to claim this region since the 70s. With her help, I filed a federal complaint. That sparked a regional investigation. More arrests followed, including the former mayor. Lena and I got close. She knew how to navigate these mountains in a way I never could. She showed me the stream where my grandfather used to fish, the tree he carved initials into, the hidden trails only locals knew. We turned the retreat into more than just a refuge. We added workshops, nature therapy, local crafts, history tours, even partnered with a nearby university. Media started picking it up. First regional press, then national. A documentary crew showed up. Legacy of the Land, they called it. We spoke at conferences. Schools invited us. Camp Elias became a symbol, not just of resistance, but of restoration. 1 year later, we hosted a remembrance event. Veterans, families, former townsfolk, hundreds came. They shared their stories, laughed, cried, planted trees in Elias's name. And me? I stood on that same porch swing, holding Lena's hand, watching kids play in the grass where I once saw bulldozers. Then came the letter from Washington. Because of the exposure, the federal government was reevaluating land ownership, records for 12 other counties nearby. Turns out my case had triggered a much larger wave. They asked me to serve on an advisory committee for rural property reform. So I went to D.C., met with congressmen, spoke about land theft, corruption, community healing, and I wasn't alone. Dozens of people came forward, others who'd been silenced, threatened, bribed. Camp Elias became a meeting ground for whistleblowers and advocates. We launched a nonprofit. Lena became the director. I handled tech, outreach, and field work. We called it Roots, restoring ownership over threatened settlements. In just over a year, we recovered 19 stolen properties, helped rebuild 5 historic communities, provided legal aid to 60 families, and we found more old letters, journals, maps, records my grandfather had hidden. He wasn't just a quiet mountain man. He was documenting everything he knew. For decades, he waited for someone to finish what he started. Then, in the spring of the 2nd year, we hosted a youth camp. 30 students came from across the state. We taught them history, survival, storytelling, ethics. We took them on hikes through the disputed woods, told them stories not found in textbooks. One evening, sitting by the fire, a girl named Sam asked, "Mr. Mark, how do you know it's worth it?" I paused, looked at the fire, then up at the sky, because the people who tried to stop me, they were afraid. And people don't get afraid of something unless it's powerful. Truth scares them. And if truth scares the wrong people, then you know you're doing the right thing. She smiled. So did I, because I finally realized this was bigger than saving a cabin. This was about saving voices, stories, dignity. It was about proving that no one, not a corporation, not a crooked official, not even history itself, could erase what was real. So if you're standing at the edge of something that seems too big, too corrupted, too far gone, just remember, sometimes the smallest piece of land holds the biggest truth. You just have to dig. Thanks for listening. If this story meant something to you, share it. Because stories like this, they're not just about land, they're about people. They're about roots. And roots, they grow deeper than fear. I'll see you in the next one.